Hello, let's play a bunch of New York Times games. But first we need to do our dad joke of the day, and Tyson submitted this one. What did one sandwich say to the other sandwich? She said, "You look sloppy, Joe." All right, and our member count holds steady at 123. We're trying to reach our goal of 200. If you'd like to be a member, you can click that join button under the video, and it's as low as $5 a month. If you watch a lot of my content, it could be worth $5 in support. All right, well, let's start with connections. We're finding 4 groups of 4. We've got port, pursuit, progressive, succession, happiness, departed, flash, liberty, wire, euphoria, remaining, entourage, insecure, bulletin, life, and report. I'm seeing a lot of TV show names. Succession, Departed is a movie, The Wire, Euphoria, Entourage. In fact, I think all 3 of these are HBO shows. This is an Apple TV show. The Flash is a TV show and some movies and whatever else. I don't know, comic. I'm thinking it's none of that, though. These are all kind of in a row. Progressive is an insurance company. Interesting. All right. Bulletin is a bulletin. So like I don't know. Insecure. Is someone feeling insecure, like they're not confident, or is it like an insecure, like it's got low security? Port, a report. I don't know. I can't get a grasp on these. Departed, euphoria, happiness. I mean, it could just be that simple. There's also life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are 4 lines in the Declaration of Independence. Would they do that? I'm not entirely sure. I'm not confident enough. Like, it feels red herring-y, like especially with pursuit in there. But definitely life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are 4 words of the Declaration of Independence. Famous ones. Inalienable rights. Let's see. So let's hold on to that. Let's put that in our pocket. Remaining, progressive. I don't know. A report and a bulletin feel like the same thing. Maybe like a news flash. So these are like news events. A news flash, a news bulletin, a news report. What's the 4th news thing? News, a pursuit, perhaps? Maybe. Is there anything better than pursuit? A wire. Maybe a wire. Okay. I'm pretty confident in this one. I'm not going for a reverse rainbow today. Cool. So that's just yellow and news announcement. Okay. So I'm a little bit more confident about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But not enough to lock it in yet. I mean, if you'd like, you can pretend I've locked it in. If you know it's correct and you're yelling at me to lock it in, just pretend I have. I'm looking at the other ones. Let's see. Departed. Succession. Like succession to the throne. Entourage. What are we doing with entourage? Like a group. I mean, it could be that we're still doing TV shows, but again, Departed's a movie, not a TV show. So I really don't think so. Unless these are all somehow directed by the same person or something. I don't know, created by the same person. I don't think so, though. They're very different shows. Movie. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. So insecure, progressive. Euphoria is happy. So euphoria does not go with happiness, is kind of what I'm saying. Could we be talking about like just like loan words? I don't know, like euphoria and entourage. I don't know if that would be it. Okay, like even though I just talked about this and how I'm not, I need to know if life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness is a category. Okay, it is. It's green. Nouns from a famous line in the Declaration of Independence. Sure. Pursuit is a noun? I guess so. It feels verby, doesn't it? Okay, anyway. Okay, we're down to blue and purple, so they're not going to be like synonyms. We got to think outside the box here. Maybe we need to use some of these letters. Like there's wordplay for purple. Port. I don't see how we'd use letters from port. I mean, yesterday we had port and it was Portugal, so maybe, but I don't think they do that again today. Also, I just don't see others. Progressive, succession, euphoria, remaining. I wonder if there's something to do with like, because these are all, I don't know what, I don't know if you know if that's true. Like, I was gonna say they're all like feelings, but not really. Like, I don't know, they're concepts, but departed, remaining. I wonder if departed, remaining, and port have something to do with like, I don't know. At least departed and port definitely feel like terms for like ships, like what time the ship departed. You know, there's two reasons port is related to ships, because there's the port side of the ship and there's the port that they dock at. But I don't know, like what else would be that? Succession, I don't know. These feel the same. These feel not the same. These feel like similar. These feel like more similar to each other than the others. I don't know. I don't even know if that makes sense. There's a vibe to them. It's fully vibe. I have no idea what we're doing here, but I'm going to try it. It's one away. All right. Well, so that's information at least. Maybe we can use that to help us. So 3 of these go together with 1 of these, and 3 of these go together with 1 of these. Succession, progressive. I mean, it's both succession and progressive kind of mean to move forward. So would like remaining go with that instead of, I don't know, but neither euphoria nor insecure mean that. Or are we literally just doing like names of TV shows? They're all just HBO shows. I didn't know Insecure was an HBO show. Wait, Succession's HBO? I thought Succession was Apple TV. Oh, I'm thinking of a different. Am I thinking of a different? I'm thinking of a different Apple TV show. Shoot, if I'd realized Succession was an HBO show, I think I would have been fine, because I knew that Entourage and Euphoria were, but I didn't know about Insecure. Anyway, they all felt vibey the same because they're all show names. Okay, I don't know what this is. What left might mean. Okay, that's crazy. So if you depart, you've left, right? Departed, left. Port, as in the left side of the ship, I suppose, depending on which direction you're facing. The reason they use port is because you could be facing in various directions. Anyway, if you're on the left, you're progressive, and then whatever's left is remaining. Okay, that's crazy. This was a hard one. Maybe if you know the shows. I don't know if it was that hard. It was hard for me, but I don't think it's generally hard. Let's give it a 2.5. 2.8. Okay. I really don't like this pop-up. Cool. Well, let's check the bot. Oh, okay. So it was hard. 48%. Never mind. We got a million games in. I'm sorry I've been doing these so late. I try to get this early access for members, but I've been adjusting my sleep schedule, so things will settle soon, I hope. And also weekends are also tougher in general. All right. Anyway, wow. Another, it's not as tough as yesterday. Like yesterday was insane in terms of the solve rate, but today it's still under 50% solve rate, which is crazy. I am not the only one who made this mistake. Kind of went off vibes, I guess. I don't know. All right. A lot of people getting yellow first. That's what I did as well. Also this, I actually technically saw green first. I just thought it might be a red herring, so I didn't lock it in right away. I think people who find the HBO shows first are doing pretty well, to be honest. All right. Yeah, it's not as bad as, like yesterday it was like 30-something% got nothing. Today it's 10% getting nothing. So people are getting yellow and green at least. They're just having trouble picking apart blue and purple, which makes complete sense because purple is complete nonsense. And it's not nonsense. I mean, like, I don't know. it's hard to think of that because it's different meanings of left, right? Um, but you got to know the shows, right? You got to know the shows, or just get it off vibes like I did. Yeah, and we just got a huge number of people. Okay, so people guessing Wire because of HBO shows makes complete sense to me. But otherwise, it's people trying to figure out blue and purple. And poor AI is trying to like be like, oh, are they being rational with this guess? HBO dramas, but Departed is a movie. All right. Also, it's The Departed, isn't it? Doesn't really matter. What are people confidently locking in first? Yellow, green. Why am I having trouble with colors today? I'm not colorblind, I promise. Um, I'm just mind blind at the moment. Let's see. Yeah, people trying the HBO shows. It makes a whole lot of sense to me. Um, Getting the HBO shows first is 6%. That's interesting. There's some like, so like we're already down to 1% for like the top guesses in this situation. So like most people are really going for kind of this cluster here, either getting the news thing, getting the Declaration of Independence thing, or trying HBO shows / movies. All right, makes a whole lot of sense to me, and I believe that is it. How'd you do? All right, in between recordings, I looked it up. I was thinking of Severance as the Apple TV show instead of Succession. But they both start with S. That's about all they've got in common. But anyway, let's do the mini crossword. Man's name with the same two vowels as boat, fittingly. So we have an O and an A in this word. I don't know. I'm gonna skip that for now. Watch in one sitting as a TV series. You binge it. All right. Mammal that cracks open sea urchins with rocks. That's an otter. Publicist's concern. I'm not sure. Chooses with 4. Okay, let's look at the downs. Like some cold brew coffee. Huh. How beer may be served. On tap. That's our O. All right. One helping to seal the deal. Is it going to be OA like this? I mean, I feel like before a G, we're probably an A. An agent helps seal the deal. Okay. So the OA are in the same place. I wasn't convinced that was going to be true. Groups of buffalo, herds. So this is Noah, has the same vowels as boat. Okay. Cold, is it nitro? Nitro is the ops 4 chooses. Their brand considered. And did I not look at 5 down? Oh, blank the drag queen, RuPaul's Drag Race winner who competed on The Traders. Oh yeah, I totally would have known that one. Bob. All right. Anyway, how'd you do? Let's do Strands. Today's theme is fragrant abuse. Not flagrant abuse, but fragrant abuse. So we're talking about like perfumes, maybe. People put on way too much perfume and you can smell it across the whole room. My theory on that is you can become nose blind, right? So if you smell something enough, you stop smelling it. And so people who wear perfume every day, they're putting more and more and more on because they're like, oh, I can't smell it. I got to put more on because they want to be able to smell it. And then at some point, it's just insanely powerful for everybody else. Anyway, I'm particularly sensitive to that because I am allergic to most perfumes. All right. What are we doing here? I guess allergy might be a strong word. It might be more of like a sensitivity, but whatever it is, it's very uncomfortable. Let's see. I see the word famous. Fragrant abuse, famous. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but I think I'm going to try it. Okay, is famous part of our spanogram somehow, or it just happens to have the word famous here? We've got KNO that we'd have to do something with, either ending in onk or starting with like a KNO can be the start of a word. It's got some very particular. And then we also have rod over here. To do, tor, Lord. Okay, I just don't think it works because of like what are we doing around it? So I mean, obviously it didn't lock in, but like if it's part of a word or phrase, we'd have to do stuff with the stuff around it. Is there part of the word famous that's like related to scents, fragrances? Did I look for the word perfume? I feel like I looked for the word perfume. I have a P here. It's the only P. And there's only one E next to it. And then there's no R next to the E. Okay. Grats. Sell. I don't think that would be it. Smell, maybe? Smell? Ooh, maybe smelly. Okay, smelly. Pungent? Okay, smelly and pungent. And then reeking. So these are when someone smells bad. So odor. Odor. Oh, how about that's? That's got to be a spanogram thing. That stink. Oh, that stinks. There we go. That stinks. Okay, so something to do with what is that word? Melodious? Melodious? Malodorous? Malodorous. Malodorous. Okay, so famous was just, I don't know, just happened to be there. And then two more words here, rank and foul. Okay, got it. That makes sense. Fragrant abuse. I was thinking about just people who wear too much perfume, but this is just things that smell bad. We have quite a few words for meaning smells bad. I guess it's a strong emotion, right? All right, well, let's spin the wheel and see what we're playing today. Alrighty, let's spin it. We're playing Symbol today. Nice. One of my favorite games. It's suggested by Heather Trigg, among others. Cool. Yep, let me boot that up. Here is Symbol. I did explain it, I think, last time we played, but I think I'm going to use the opportunity of it being in this video to explain it each time. I always start with Blaze, so we're going to do that. And now you might go, why do you start with Blaze? It's got a Z in it. Well, the whole point is that we're going to assume there is no Z in the answer, and that can help us decode the symbols. So one of the key things about Symbol is that it's different symbols every time. It's consistent within the game you play for every guess, but it's different between games you play. And in fact, even on the daily, different people playing the daily will get different symbols, so you can't cross-reference them. But the symbols will always mean, there'll be three distinct symbols with three distinct colors and three distinct shapes. And those symbols will roughly be equivalent to the gray, yellow, green coloring in Wordle. But notice how it doesn't put the symbol over each letter, and that's on purpose, because what we're actually doing here is we need to interpret these symbols as if what we guessed was the answer, and as if the answer was what we guessed. But the problem is we don't know what the answer is, right? Obviously, if we knew what the answer was, we'd just guess it and we'd be right. But let me come up with something that could be the answer so I can kind of explain this a bit better. So maybe something like, maybe I want to put an EA here. So cheat. So let's say cheat was correct. It is possible that cheat is correct, but there's a low probability, but it could be. Now, if cheat was correct, what would that mean for these symbols? Well, think about if Blaze was the answer to Wordle and we were to guess cheat. How would cheat get colored? Well, cheat would be, the C would be gray because there's no C in Blaze. The H would be gray because there's no H in Blaze. The E would be yellow because it's in the wrong spot. The A would be yellow because it's in the wrong spot. And the T would be, in fact, you know what? Why don't I bring out my pencil tool here? So we've got some grays, right? We'd have, the C would be gray. The H would be gray. And the T would be gray because they're not in Blaze. And then we'd have two yellows. The E would be yellow and the A would be yellow. Now, if you'll notice, that could match up with our symbols here. If the blue heart meant gray and the purple sun meant yellow, then that would match up. So imagine the word cheat here, and these symbols are telling us what color that would be. But I'm guessing that these are gray and these are yellow. But if that's the case, then the word cheat would be a viable option here against Blaze. Now, the way I actually think about this, rather than the way the game kind of explains it, and you do need to go back to how the game explains it in complex situations, but in less complex situations like this, here's how I think about it. I first think, okay, well, the most common symbol is probably the gray. So whatever letter I guess, it's kind of hard to describe. You kind of have to deal with the grays last. Is kind of what I'm getting at here. You want to do the greens first, then the yellows, then the grays. And I'm thinking there's no greens here. The reason I think no greens is because I assume there's no Z in the word. So any symbol here that would be on top of the Z is not going to be the green, because that would mean that we need to use a Z in our next guess. And the whole point of using the Z is to assume there is no Z. Also, the whole point of using the B is 50% of the words that have B in them have B first. So I just assume that if there is a B, it's first. And I also like to assume that L, A, E are much more common. So if I can exclude the B, I'd like to. So those are the two reasons for Blaze. We have a very rare letter, a mid-tier letter that likes to be first, and then 3 common letters. All right, anyway. So what I do here is I first work off the greens, but I don't think there's any greens. Then I work off the yellows. So wherever I think the yellow symbol is, which is going to be the least common symbol of between yellow and gray, then I'm going to say it's kind of a reverse yellow. In the slot that's colored yellow, in this sun slot, I need to pick a letter from Blaze that isn't the one that I guessed there, that isn't the A. So I need to pick a B, an L, a Z, or an E. Now I'm going to exclude the B and the Z for the reasons I just talked about. So I would pick an L or an E, and E is far more common. So I'm just going to stick an E there. Now we have a sun over the 4th slot. And so I need a letter from Blaze that's not the Z, but I also already used the E, and I can't use the E again. So it can't be the E also. So I need to pick a B, L, or A. So I'm going to pick the A. And then in the 3 slots that are gray, I need to pick 3 brand new letters that aren't in Blaze at all. Or I need to repeat an E or an A. But when you start thinking about repeats, you got to kind of a little bit go back to like, how would the original color it? You can kind of think about some more advanced rules for that. But anyway, let's lock in cheat and see what happens. All right, so what we have learned here is what we were expecting is if the EA were correct, then we would expect 2 new symbols here. Or the third symbol that we don't know what it looks like, which is actually this yellow plus, which we just learned. We would expect that in both slots. So clearly we made some incorrect assumption there. Let me actually just get rid of that pencil tool here. So, but what I think has happened here is I think that I was right, and I think I got the A right, but I did not get the E correct. So what's actually happened here is it has colored the A yellow. Sorry, it's colored the A green. So if we're thinking about how the Wordle is here, right? It's a little bit different though. It's colored the A green, right? So greens are going to be greens. So it's kind of hard to color that, but anyway, what I'm assuming here is that we need to bring the A down again. So we got the A right, but this shouldn't have been the E. This should have been a B, L, or Z. So L being the next most common letter, I'm going to put an L there. So, and then the rest of these are grays, meaning I need something that's not in Blaze or cheat. So I need brand new letters for these 3 slots. So I just have to think of a word that does that. Referencing the keyboard is really helpful here because it grays out anything you've already guessed. So I'm not going to repeat any letters at this point, but if I can avoid it, but I need something like solar. No, yeah, solar works perfectly. So the word solar, and again, let me clear this out. How would cheat have been? Let's actually go through both. How would Blaze have been colored if the answer was solar, and how would cheat have been colored if the answer is solar? So Blaze, and I'm just going to leave grays as blank. But Blaze, there is an A in solar and there's an L in solar. So, sorry, it's the other way around. If the answer was Blaze, how would solar have been colored? Well, solar would have been colored with a yellow here and a yellow here against Blaze. And that's what we see here, the 2 suns. So I can't really demonstrate this very well. But how would cheat have been colored if the answer, how would solar have been colored if the answer was cheat? Well, we would have, so if the answer was cheat, how would solar have been colored? We would just have this green A. And the rest would have been gray because they're not in cheat. And that does match what these symbols are, right? So hopefully I'm not going too in depth here, but okay. And so what we've learned here is that I'm correct, right? And it's at least consistent with what I've been thinking, which is now I have 2 greens. So we know it's an LA. It's just we haven't picked the correct other letters at all. So I need new letters. All right. Now here's where we might want to start thinking about, can we repeat any letters? And here's the kind of rule of thumb I would use. These 2 showed up yellow for Blaze, telling us that the L had to go here. So if we're going to use another L, it has to be after this slot, and it can't be this slot either, because this was also marked yellow. It's the A, right? So if we're going to use another L, it would actually only be in the last slot. That would be the only way that we could have a second L, because if the L was in the first slot, this L would have preferred pointing at the first slot, not at the third one. And you can kind of reverse engineer that logic from how it actually colors. But that's how you can think about it. If you get a yellow, it's going to be the first possible yellow, right? So this A is the first possible one that could have been L. And so we can't repeat the L. If we want to repeat the A, we would have to put it at the end also. So we're not repeating the A or the L, is the conclusion there. I don't know what our word is, though. What are we ending in? Like a W? In-law? I could try in-law. In-law's not in the... Okay, that must be a hyphenate. Is there a different law word? I don't think so. All right. How about Y? Ooh, Y is good. Like inlay instead of in-law, inlay. And there we go. That was the answer. Okay, cool. Now, at the end, it's going to color it, and it's going to tell you... So for the purples, which was with the yellow, it's going to match the color of the sun. It's telling you which two letters were chosen. And here for the greens, it's telling you which ones were green. So it's a little bit confusing how that ends up coloring at the end, but it's trying to hint you towards like, okay, yeah, that's how that worked, by the way. But anyway, so that's how to think about it. And obviously all greens is all greens. So greens work the same way you'd expect them to work because they're invertible. But cool. I really like this game. I know I made it sound complicated, but once you get used to it, it's actually a really cool way to think about the game, because you got to decode the symbols and you've got to think about yellows a bit differently and grays a bit differently. So it kind of works out in a neat way. Cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Those are the games for this video. If you'd like to watch Wordle, you can just click at the end of the video. It'll take you right there. And if you enjoyed this, why don't leave a like, subscribe, and a kind comment below.